CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda. We're kicking off our season with an all-pro lineup of cars. Honda, we make it simple. Light beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Sears Tire and Auto Center, home of straight talk, good values, and satisfaction.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Giant Stadium. I'm Vin Scully along with John Madden. And, John, there's a problem for the Giants. They're down 7-3. They have the ball, and they are literally trying to eat up the clock. And then suddenly Billy Taylor fumbles, and what it turns out to be is a three-point gift to the Eagles, and they go off the field somewhat down. As Ray Perkins, what would you do at halftime?
Well, what you try and do is you try and go in and say, look, forget that. But you know, he wanted to get in without that. He was satisfied when they were down 7-3 that they'd go in there and regroup and come out for the second half. And then when something disastrous happens to you, and that was disastrous, then you go in and you're always trying to say it's okay, and you never get really to what you want to do in the next half.
It's very easy for the defense to get emotional, and the Giant defensive squad reflected the emotionalism of the crowd, and they played with a lot of fervor in the first half. It's very hard for the offense to suddenly get back up, isn't it?
Right, it is, and I think that's one thing that the Giants have improved is their defense, as I watched in their first game. But the thing is coming back off those, you know, those bad things that happen to you, and every time they play the Eagles, they say that something bad is going to happen to them, and then when it happens, they tend to say, I knew it.
You have to keep in mind the Giants have not beaten the Eagles in 11 straight, going back to 1975. The Giants have not won a home game, whether it's here or Yale Bowl or you name it, against Philadelphia since 1972. So losing is kind of inborn. They've got to try and get rid of that taste.
That's the thing that you want to do, and those things are easy to talk about, you know, but they're hard to do because somewhere in there it's in there, and you just hope that you can get rid of those things when something bad happens, and you hope that maybe a Lawrence Taylor, a new player, comes in. He doesn't know about all those things, and he just goes in and plays and makes something happen.
Would you expect Phil Simms to suddenly utilize his wide receivers a little bit more? In other words, he's passed to Mulledy and he's passed to Shirk, but we haven't seen Ernest Gray, we haven't seen Johnny Perkins, we haven't seen Mike Freedy. In fact, we haven't seen wide receivers for either team very much.
For either team, and I think that's something that the Giants will do in the second half. I know that early in the first half, they had some good field positions, and instead of taking a shot once in a while and going for a big one or a touchdown, they were content just to stay with the, you know, the possession type things. And I think maybe they realize that the next time, you know, that they get a good field position, they may as well go for one because they've had success against the Eagles with that in the past.
What about defensively? One of the Eagles' weapons today is the little swing passes to Wilbert Montgomery. Makes him look like Fran Tarkington and Chuck Foreman. That's quite a combination now with Jaworski and Montgomery.
Right, and there's really nothing that you can do about that on defense because if you bring your linebackers up tight to always play Montgomery, then you're leaving the Carmichaels, the Charlie Smiths, the Krefleys open deep. So you have to play off them a little and hope that you can come up and make the tackle when he catches the ball.
John, you're a very physical man. Were you physical in the clubhouse?
Sometimes. I broke a knuckle once. I got a little excited and I said some funny things that I wasn't proud of after I said them, but I would tend to be. I would, you know, kick garbage cans, and sometimes they were full of ice, and you know, not too smart, but physical.
By the way, it's not that I want to hold his hand, but I do, if you can possibly see that. Can you see that? That's 100. What that stands for is John Madden was the third youngest coach in NFL history to win 100 games. Curly Lambeau and George Halas and John Madden, and gives me an opportunity to congratulate you. That's a remarkable milestone, and there's not a scar on you.
Well, there's some scars underneath. You know,
Deep
that's
inside,
where yeah, somewhere you know that, ooh.
Well, let's find out not about the scars, but the scratches that occurred during the first half on our statistical board. In first downs, as you can see, nothing really noteworthy there, nor in yards rushing or in yards passing. Actually, a pretty closely contested ball game. The Eagles will be kicking off to the Giants now at the start of the second half. Backing up is Louis Jackson, and it'll go into the end zone. He had Alvin Garrett back there with him. So the Giants will get a chance in the second half to see if they can get their offense started. as Jackson and Garrett will come off, and Phil Simms and company will put the ball in play 1st and 10 on the Giant 20-yard line. Ernest Gray going wide right. Freedy goes wide left, and the running backs are Billy Taylor and Leon Perry. And they'll try Taylor. Well, Billy Taylor picks up a couple. You know, a thought about the Eagles too, John, for them to be coming back from a Super Bowl, even though they're among the favorites for the NFL title. History suggests otherwise, and again, Hairston is down for the 2nd time today. You know, only 2 teams have returned to win the Super Bowl after losing the previous season's title game. That would be Miami and Dallas. So they've got a lot of work to do.
Well, they sure do, and I'm sure that Dick Vermeil realizes that as much as anyone. We see Carl Hairston there. He looks like he may have hurt his shoulder on that play, but he was the guy that made the tackle. You know, he makes more tackles when the ball goes away from him, I think, any defensive lineman in the National Football League.
And yet most linemen would just as soon have you come at him rather than have to run across the field after. 10-3 in favor of Philadelphia early in the 3rd.
Gentlemen, this meeting is called to decide which one of us is the most popular light beer drinker of all.
Must be talking about me.
I vote for my buddy, Boog Powell.
Oh.
Should I take the minutes?
You can take all year.
Hey, I cast my vote for Billy Martin.
I'll second that.
Me too.
Excuse me, this chart clearly shows what a little showing off can do.
Now, wait a minute. I'm the most popular guy here.
Gentlemen, wait, a little respect. At least we agree that light beer from Miller tastes great.
Let's do it! Tastes great! Tastes great! Better make it a secret ballot.
Could we vote for Red Auerbach? Please?
I'm voting for me.
Count the vote, and that's no joke. All right. Gentlemen, we have a winner.
Says here the winner is Bubba Smith.
I knew this was a bad idea.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
So the Giants now have it 2nd and 7 on their own 23-yard line. Looking for Billy Taylor, and he's swallowed up by Ken Clark, number 71.
There's a lot of flags on that play. 2 or 3 of them came out on that one, Vin, so something went wrong. It's probably against the Giants, too. It usually is. Watch this. It's a screen type thing, but the defensive lineman came out, and he was the first guy out there, and that's Ken Clark, number 71.
Ken Clark was butting heads with Ernie Hughes, and then he just left Hughes and ran across the field unmolested. And we'll have a holding penalty against the Giants. Those plays take a while to develop, and I guess sooner or later a lineman is guilty of grabbing.
Well, usually on a screen, the lineman has a chance to grab 2 because he has to block 2. He blocks 1, lets him go, and then gets out in front of the screen to block another one, and that one looked like it came on the 2nd block.
Holding. Offense, number 68, refuse. 3rd down.
Well, that's J.T. Turner, and there is somewhat of a shocking upset. That's Andre Gomez and Jimmy Connors. Not over yet, but expected Connors to put him away earlier than that. 3rd and 14 on the 16-yard line. That's Hairston, but Hairston hit him from the blind side. He's not hurting too much, John.
Look at him. That shoulder was okay. You know, and this is one of the most underrated players in the National Football League, Carl Hairston. He does it all. He's their defensive captain. He wasn't in the Pro Bowl last year. He's one that should be.
Now, that's a very demoralizing turn of events. Dave Jennings punting from the end zone. Wally Henry standing in midfield. The Giants needed to do something offensively, and instead they've gone backwards. And Jennings' punt to Henry will be fielded at the 47. And he got away from little Alvin Garrett, but Garrett at least shook him up as well as hurting himself. And Garrett hurts his right leg, and he, of course, returns the kicks.
1981 Honda Prelude is a pleasure to look at in many different ways. You can look at it as a sporty car with front-wheel drive and sleek, racy looks. You can look at it as a comfortable car with a luxurious interior and power steering that comes with the optional automatic. You can look at it as an economy car. After all, it is a Honda. But then again, you can look at it like this.
Honda, we make it simple.
Deadline, Saturday, September 12th at Sears. 3 heavy-duty shock absorbers are now on sale. From $7.99 to $12.99 each, you save 20 to 25% on a smooth ride. And while they last, 25% off at Sears. Weather Handler all-season steel belted radial tires. Save 25%, as low as $29.75 per tire while they last. For great automotive values, you can count on Sears.
She returned to her mother after 20 years.
How dare you come back and make me care?
Betty Davis and Jenna Rowland, Strangers, the story of a mother and daughter, Tuesday.
Don't forget, U.S. Open Tennis Championships, Bjorn Borg and David Carter following football. Meanwhile, Jimmy Connors battling for his life against Andre Gomez. 1st and 10 on the Giant 47, and here's Wilbert Montgomery, and Harry Carson brings him down at the 45-yard line. Harold Carmichael hasn't touched the ball today. Charlie Smith hasn't had his hands on it. And, of course, the Giant wide receivers have been empty-handed all day.
I don't think there's been one thrown to Carmichael. I think one play that Jaworski may have been looking for him.
There was one to Carmichael, and you remember Harry Carson broke it up late in the first half.
Right, and Stan Walters comes off the field. You know, he's been having trouble with a knee and a groin. I think he may have hurt his groin again on that last play.
2nd and 8 on the 45-yard line. Kenny is playing left tackle. And here comes Montgomery, dragged down by the rookie, Lawrence Taylor. Got him from behind.
They're going to try Lawrence Taylor and see what he's made of, but I don't think they'll be doing this very much in the season. They're trying to give the rookie, watch his catch-up speed. Montgomery had a couple steps on him, and he was able to take 1-2 large steps, and he was right at the sideline with him. That's going to be an outstanding player.
Lawrence Taylor, the rookie out of North Carolina, he didn't play till his junior year in high school, and he has 4.6 speed, they tell me. 3rd and 6 on the 43 of the Giants. Jaworski to Billy Camfield, and Carson can't hold him, and over to get him is Van Pelt and Jackson, and Jackson is shaken up on the play.
I think that this is a big part of the Eagles shotgun, and Billy Camfield, he's going to do a lot like Preston Pearson did for the Dallas Cowboys. He plays the running back, and he's a slot or a wing, and he runs patterns like a wide receiver. But it's always the inside guy on these shotguns who's getting thrown to. Look at Charlie Smith out there blocking. He's saying, well, if you're not going to throw it to me, I'll put on some arm pads and be a blocker for a while.
Well, it's 1st and 10 on the Giant 26-yard line. And Jaworski intercepted by Terry Jackson. He's at the 15, 20, 25, 30-yard line. Intended receiver was Harold Carmichael.
That was one of those things that everyone says Carmichael's 6'7", and you can throw anything to him. Watch him. He's in the slot, up in the top. You see, he's running an out pattern, and it's way over his head. He can be any height when he's that tall. Jackson was behind, and then he brings the ball right back to Jaworski.
So the one thing that could help a down-spirited offense is a highly spirited defense, and they've done it. A 25-yard return. 1st and 10 on the Giant 30-yard line. In motion is Ernest Gray. They'll go to Leon Perry, and Hairston can't get him, but other Eagles can. Score of another ball game. Seattle leading Cincinnati 21-10 in the 2nd quarter. Pete Johnson just scored on a 3-yard run. So a pickup of 2 on that sweep. That makes it 2nd and 8 on the Giant 32-yard line. So the interception by Terry Jackson. The Giants trying to move. That's Billy Taylor in motion. Overshot Ernest Gray. One of the problems for Sims was heat put on by Jerry Robinson.
And that's one of the things. You know, he could have had a shot at Gray there, but Jerry Robinson was right at his legs. Now watch. Here we see both the receivers coming off. See, one is going to stop and go to the sideline. Gray goes deep. The ball is over his head, but that really wasn't Sims's fault.
No.
That was Taylor's fault, who missed Robinson, that put pressure on Sims, so he had to throw deep to Gray.
But just before Sims threw the pass, he had to look over just to see where Robinson was, and that misdirected. Gray goes wide right. Frady is left, and Sims running out of the shotgun. And he didn't get his first down. He had to get to the 40-yard line. So Ray Perkins, that's kind of a gamble, isn't it?
I think it is. It was a quarterback draw. You know, when you get in a shotgun, you don't have the backs back there. So if you're going to, now watch Sims here. He gets the ball. He didn't go back far enough. It was a little too soon. You see the linebackers were just there waiting for him. Had he dropped a couple yards, let the linebackers go to their drop, then maybe it would have worked.
So Dave Jennings will now be kicking from the 25. His most recent punt, he had a kick out of the end zone. Dave arrows it low to Wally Henry at the 25. To the 30. Still on his feet and out of bounds at the 35. And there's some scuffling going on down there on the Giant bench.
Listen to that. That tends to happen on special teams. Did you see Harold Carmichael, number 17? He was on the sidelines with his helmet off. When the action started, he put his helmet on.
Smart man. It's a 38-yard kick and a 5-yard return. And watch what happens now as Henry tries to get out. And there's some pulling and tugging, and the Eagles don't like it. So with 10 minutes and 3 seconds left to go in the third quarter, 10-3 Philadelphia.
You know people like us, we're teachers. Firemen, people just like you. These are the uniforms we wear at work.
But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the reserves and the National Guard.
You see, in the reserves and the Guard, you not only serve your country,
You're part of a first-rate team.
training alongside real buddies,
Yet while you serve, you can live at home.
and keep your full-time job.
Because in the reserves and the Guard, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The Reserves and the National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter.
Only Jeep would have the audacity to redefine capacity. Introducing the new Jeep Scrambler. Now anything goes. You can scramble a dune, carry a tune, laugh with the moon and the stars. Scramble to market, pack it and park it. Escape from the noise in the cars. Blow your top and keep you cool. Scramble to work or scramble to school. Fill up the tank and scramble away. With the mileage you get, you can scramble all day. New Jeep Scrambler. Now anything goes. From Jeep Corporation of American Motors.
Monday on a 1-hour WKRP, the doctor goes disco. Has he lost his mind or sold his soul? It's a special 1-hour WKRP Monday.
Keep your eye on Harold Carmichael, upper left-hand corner of your screen, number 17. He doesn't have his helmet on. Now watch.
This is a sign of an 11-year veteran. So he sees the skirmish, he's going to walk away. Now watch right here, someone is going to throw a punch at Carmichael. See it right there? He takes a step back. Watch him, he'll step back here, put his helmet on, and now take 2 steps forward.
Meanwhile, Jaworski live swings to Montgomery, and George Martin brings him down at about the 43-yard line. We have seen that play all day long.
One of the things that these teams are trying to do now with these great running backs like a Wilbert Montgomery, a Tony Dorsett, is to get the ball out to them where they don't have to run through the line and get hit by linemen and linebackers.
As you can see, Jimmy Connors has gotten off the deck against Ruben Gomez, so it's 3-all in that deciding set. 2nd and 3 on the Eagle 44. Carmichael wide right. Montgomery is on a wing, and they'll go to Harrington. Harrington got away from Martin, Haynes, and Carson knocks him out of bounds. Meanwhile, Dallas adding it on against Washington now, the Giants' foe next week. A 29-yard field goal by Rafael Septien, and it is 17-7 Big D. Miami leading St. Louis 20-0.
Yeah, watch Lawrence Taylor here, right here, number 56. He takes on the tight end. See, it's away from the ball. He's working him, says, throw him down. You go to the ground. I want to go find the ball. I tell you, he's not only fast and quick, but he's strong. Did you see the strength how he handled that tight end?
1st and 10 on the Eagle 48-yard line. Second man, Wilbert Montgomery, got by Curtis McGriff, but he was hit on the side by Kelly and Van Pelt. And at the bottom is Bill Neal.
And we see Stan Walters back in there now, so I guess that groin or knee is okay.
Hey, John, Lawrence Taylor coming off the campus at North Carolina, and they refer to him as another Butkus. Would that be the highest possible praise for a linebacker?
Probably. You know, of course, Dick Butkus was a middle linebacker, but I think any time that you put Butkus in a sentence with any other player, that's about as much as you can do.
2nd and 6 on the Giant 48. And a little swing to Harrington and Curtis McGriff. Curtis McGriff all over him. And McGriff shaken up. He was on the all-NFL rookie team when he came out of Alabama and converted to defensive end.
Right, he was a nose tackle, and you know, we had Gary Jeter here, and we'll see him. See with the left-handed stance here. He starts on his pass rush. It's going to be a screen, so he works out to the side here. Now he's moved to right end from nose tackle. Now watch right here. He goes to make the tackle, and it looked like his leg just flipped, you know, when it was in the air. The old leg whiplash or something. And he goes down.
Curtis fights his way back up. He's a big fella, as you can well imagine. 6'5", 270 pounds. He was a free agent picked up last year by the Giants.
He looks like an offensive lineman. Although he was, I guess, a move to defense, but he still looks like an offensive guy. Good number, 76.
Yes, that's the spirit. Don't forget the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Bjorn Borg and David Carter will follow, and Jimmy Carter and Andre Gomez putting on a show. Jimmy Connors and Andre Gomez. The Giant spirit, that's Carl Barisic, number 78. They just picked him up. And it's 3rd and 14 on the Eagle 45. Here for the touchdown.
Well, that's the one that they were saving, Vin. We were talking the whole time that they hadn't thrown to the wide receivers in the shotgun, and they hadn't, but the first time they went to it, it sure worked pretty well, didn't it? See, Jaworski's back there at 5. He drops back 5 more. Just sees Parker out here to the left side, throws it right over his shoulder, and it's all the way.
You know, Parker had a 40-yard touchdown pass called back in Super Bowl because of illegal motion. Maybe this will take the pain out of that one.
Well, you know, he was so happy he darn near started to celebrate too soon. Did you see that? He started to lift the ball up about the 5. I've seen him spike it at the 2. One of my players did it once.
So Tony Franklin trying to hammer it through. And I mean, he really got that bare foot into it. So the Eagles now are leading handily with 8 minutes and 1 second left to go in the 3rd quarter. Philadelphia 17, the Giants 3, and there's Rodney Parker.
In 1931, Texaco developed a new gasoline for emergency vehicles called Fire Chief. Not just for fire engines, but family cars, too. In 1941, Texaco helped create a fuel refining process for the national defense.
For tomorrow, Texaco is working on a way of turning America's plentiful coal into clean burning gas. These are some of the ways Texaco is making good use of America's energy resources.
Announcing Ford's incredible 21-day countdown. With just a few days till the new model year, only Ford offers this great way to save on both cars and trucks. Get $500 back on new 81 Mustangs, new 82 EXPs, or new 81 Fairmonts. Get $500 to $700 on new 81 light trucks or vans. It all adds up to $1 million a day in cash rebates and incentives, and it's a great reason to see your Ford dealer now.
There's $1 million a day coming from Ford.
Today on CBS Sports, the action continues as the greatest tennis players in the world compete in the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Coming up after the game today on CBS Sports.
U.S. Open update. Connors leading Gomez 4-3 in that deciding set. On the Eagle bench, the wide receivers Charlie Smith, Rodney Parker, who just caught that 55-yard touchdown pass, along with Harold Carmichael and Wilbert Montgomery taking a rest. The Eagles kicking off, and it'll be Garrett taking it at the 4 to the 15, 20, 25, and out of bounds around the 30-yard line.
You know, we saw that shot of those three receivers. You know, in the shotgun, they also put in a third wide receiver, and that's how Rodney Parker got in there.
Well, despite an interception by Terry Jackson, the Giants had to punt, and the Eagles then went 5 plays, 63 yards. Took them a little over 2 minutes. Jaworski capping it with that 55-yarder to Rodney Parker. 1st and 10 on the Giant 30. Sims with Bunting on him. Throws no good. John Bunting had him, and then Carl Hairston knocked him down. You were talking about Billy Sims. Well, we're going to go to Brent Musburger and take a look at him at the NFL Today.
Good.
All right, Ben, thank you so much. Indeed, here is Billy Sims striking against San Francisco as Gary Danielson pulls out 39 yards. In college, Sims caught only 2 passes, but look at it now. Touchdown line. Back to Vin Scully.
All right, 2nd and 25 from the 15 as we had a look at Billy Sims up to his old tricks. Meanwhile, they put the squeeze on Leon Perry at the 22. John Bunting and Randy Logan bring him down.
We were just because he had it in his hands for a second.
Atlanta pulverizing New Orleans, so it's a bummer for New Orleans. 21-0 Atlanta. Meanwhile, tough one. Look at that. Kansas City 20 and Pittsburgh 19. Bill Kenny just hit to Carlos Carson for that touchdown.
Kansas City could be one of the most improved teams in the NFL this year.
4th and 17 on the 23. Jennings booting one to Wally Henry. Henry at the 33. And he is grabbed by Lawrence Taylor and then Byron Hunt, but it was Taylor who hit him first. Those 2 youngsters really flying down there, John.
Lawrence Taylor, as we see him take his helmet off here, he's earning that salary that a first-round draft choice gets.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of us drink light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy?
I didn't punch that doggie.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
These people all have one thing in common besides a happy smile. They all own dependable Toyota Corollas.
This Corolla's the most dependable car I've ever had.
I can rely on it.
We own 4.
No good. Intended for Ernest Gray. That's the first ball he's had today. Couldn't quite grab it.
Right, and it came very close to coming up with a big play because he had it in his hands for a second.
Atlanta pulverizing New Orleans, so it's a bummer for New Orleans. 21-0 Atlanta. Meanwhile, tough one. Look at that. Kansas City 20 and Pittsburgh 19. Bill Kenny just hit to Carlos Carson for that touchdown.
Kansas City could be one of the most improved teams in the NFL this year.
4th and 17 on the 23. Jennings booting one to Wally Henry. Henry at the 33. And he is grabbed by Lawrence Taylor and then Byron Hunt, but it was Taylor who hit him first. Those 2 youngsters really flying down there, John.
Lawrence Taylor, as we see him take his helmet off here, he's earning that salary that a first-round draft choice gets.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you, and the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of us drink light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy?
I didn't punch that doggie.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
These people all have one thing in common besides a happy smile. They all own dependable Toyota Corollas.
This Corolla is the most dependable car I've ever had.
I can rely on it.
We own 4 Corollas right now, so I know they're well built.
Dependability. It's probably one reason the Toyota Corolla is the best-selling car in the world.
Dependable? Our company bought 34 Corollas.
Oh, 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 what a feeling. Dependable. Toyota.
The Eagles in possession, 1st and 10, but they'll be on their own 23-yard line. Illegal use of the hands against Billy Camfield. Number 37, he'll watch Camfield.
You see his hands up in the air, he's saying, I didn't do it. That's what an official probably sees, and he looks and says, you look too guilty.
That's after the fact. 1st and 10, Eagles on their own 23. They're leading 17-3. We have 6:27 left in the third, and there goes Harrington, and he got away from 2 Giants, and finally brought down by Haynes, shy of the 40-yard line.
Now we'll see this from behind. You see, as he comes to the defense, it's a little counter. See, he started to the left, comes back to the right, keeps his feet going all the time. Now get your shoulder square again. That's it. Right up the field. Now come right to us, make a little move here, and then get the shoulders up again. You don't want to run parallel too long.
He made a good move on both Larry Flowers and Brian Kelly. That's what made that play go. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 39. Fake to Carmichael, and a pass to Montgomery, no good. Defending was Beasley Reese. So that's a switch. You fake to Carmichael as a short man, and you have Montgomery the deep man.
That was the thing. He faked twice. He first faked the run, and then he faked to Carmichael, and then he threw deep to Montgomery. And Ron Jaworski's going down and telling the official it looked like he hit Montgomery before the ball got there. I like that spirit in those quarterbacks. Sometimes they have to go out and tell an official something,
yeah,
too.
When he went down the field to hollow the official, Beasley Reese had a few words to Jaworski, too, about hitting it.
Beasley Reese is his first year as a weak safety. He said at first he was playing too aggressive like a strong safety. Then he was playing too cautious like every play was a triple reverse.
2nd and 10 on the Eagle 39-yard line. That's Lawrence Taylor, but he got away from him and threw it away. Lawrence Taylor, the kid, put a lot of heat on him.
Jaworski throws it away. He knew he threw it away. You knew he threw it away, but Montgomery was out there, and if you direct the ball towards a receiver, then they won't call that penalty.
Oh, it is 3rd and 10 on the 39-yard line. You're so calm up here. I was just thinking, if you were down on the field now, you might not have that overall optimistic cool that you're showing.
I used to be crazy, but I've learned to relax.
Welcome to the club.
If you believe that.
Yeah, right. I got some Meadowland I want to tell you.
These are the Meadowlands.
3rd and 10 on the 39. And Jaworski down the middle. He's got Carmichael, and he's upended by Van Pelt and goes down to about the 42-yard line.
We're going to see this again. You know, he's been looking for Carmichael. We see Carmichael in the inset. He's in the slot. He's running the pattern. He gets by one, turns to the inside. What a target he is. Right in the middle of the field. You see him? He was right between the 2 hash marks, and Jaworski could really see it. Now watch, see now Taylor's on him. Taylor can bump in the first 5. He should have given him a little more of a jam. Now see how you can pick up Carmichael in midfield, and he works back a little.
Good one-handed grab by Brad Van Pelt to knock him down. 1st and 10 on the 42 of the Giants, and Jaworski incomplete, intended for Charlie Smith.
The Eagles had an interesting game plan. They started out running, of course, and throwing to their running backs, and now we can see that in the second half They have a 17-3 lead, that they're starting to open up a little more. And that card that Dick Vermeil has there is starting to come up with a few better plays, I think.
Does he carry it all the time?
Well, he carries it all the time, he says, until the end of the game when he gets frustrated, then he sticks it in his pants. He said, then I'm not looking at it anymore when you see that.
2nd and 10 on the Giant 42-yard line. Jaworski to Harrington, and Harrington runs into Harry Carson, among others. Right now, for an NFL Today report, we'll go back to Brent Musburger in New York. Get a report on Atlanta, New Orleans.
All right, Vinny, thank you so much. The Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. The storyline, Bum Phillips now takes over the Saints. He's already trailing by 2 touchdowns. Archie Manning pulls out, completes one in the flat. The ball comes loose, and Kenny Johnson scoops it up for the Falcons. And now Atlanta leads New Orleans 21-0. Back to Vin Scully.
6 on the Giant 38, and Jaworski, the left side to Montgomery, no good. He was hounded by Brad Van Pelt. We now get a U.S. Open update in that do-or-die set. Jimmy Connors has taken a 5-4 lead over Andre Gomez. Borg and Carter will follow our football game. With 4 minutes and 5 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, it is 17-3 Eagles. However, Max Runager will now be punting. Beasley Reese is standing inside the Giant 10-yard line. They don't return Runager's punch too often. And he's going to try and arrow this one out. It hits and goes out of bounds with a flag on the play.
With that flag, Vin, I'm sure one of the Eagles left early, and Runager will have to do it again. Well, that's out there in the 1-yard line. That's perfect. That's exactly where you want to put it. He just turned and pointed it right to that 1-yard line and put it there.
Legal man downfield.
Right.
So Vermeil is furious, as you can see, discussing the ancestry of some dogs.
Vermeil is there, and he was thinking that you know, with 3 minutes, 50 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, that may have done it. That may have put him out.
You know, although Runager ranked only 10th in the NFC with an average of 39.
Number 59.
Watch this. Only 35 of his 75 kicks were returned last year. This is a case in point.
Watch him. He takes that ball and he points it right to that first pylon, and he hits it in there perfectly. Look, a little bounce, then it takes that right bounce to the outside. The official's right there, and he says this is where it is.
Runager will now be punting from Eagle territory, and that means Beasley Reese gives way to Alvin Garrett, and Garrett is standing on the 10-yard line of New York. Wow, almost blocked Frank Marion, and it'll go into the end zone. Frank Marion came within a whisker of blocking that punt.
You know, you usually see that in early season games. You see a lot of games won and lost by special teams.
Take another look.
Runager got that ball off very quick. It was a perfect snap. You know, had that ball not been right there, maybe it would have been blocked.
Don't forget, more great NFL action next week on CBS Sports. Atlanta at Green Bay, Chicago, San Francisco, Detroit at San Diego, Los Angeles at New Orleans, the Giants at Washington. That's the one you'll see, and we'll be there. St. Louis at Dallas, Tampa Bay at Kansas City. 1st and 10 on the Giant 20-yard line. Sims releasing to Perry with Turner blocking. And he bumped into Billy Taylor, or he might have picked up some more.
He could have. Now, this is a screen, but it's a running screen. See, it's not a delay. See, he starts out there, Perry starts out there, then he turns the ball upfield right after he catches it. And watch the movement that he's making. Had he not run into Taylor, you're right, he would have gained another 5 or 6 yards.
He got a pretty good block from J.T. Turner, too.
Right, but there's a lot of bodies in there. See that? That's good stuff. A lot of white jerseys, blue jerseys. The intensity really has picked up in this regular season.
1st and 10 on the Giant 37-yard line. He's got Billy Taylor, and he's to the 45-yard line. He has to get to the 47-yard line for a 1st down.
You know, when he does get to the 47 or 50, I think that will be the time that the Giants will start to open up and maybe go to their outside receivers the way the Eagles have.
There's Dave Jennings, like all punters, edgy, restless, constantly on the move.
Kickers are different. That's a different breed.
2nd and 3 on the 44. Good reception by Ernest Gray. He beat Herman Edwards by having to come back and get it. First down.
Now that gives them the first down that they've been looking for. Now they have two things. One, they have a first down, and two, they're in Eagle territory. Early in the first half when they got in there, they didn't go deep. They didn't go for a big one. I would anticipate that they will now in this drive.
So 1st and 10 on the Eagle 48. We have 2:20 left in the third, and it's 17-3 Eagles. In motion is Ernest Gray. Here comes Doug Coder. And Coder is bumped out by Randy Logan and John Bunting.
You know, John Bunting is a player that really isn't talked a lot about on this Eagles, but is he solid? You never get much on John Bunting. Plus, he's the guy that calls the defenses. He plays left linebacker, but he gets the signals, as we see him right here. See, he gets the signals from Marion Campbell, and he'll get in the huddle. You just saw him. He calls the defense.
He's second to Carmichael in experience with the Eagles.
I like him.
2nd and 10 on Philadelphia's 48-yard line. Ernest Gray, no good. John Bunting right there with him.
And look at Sims. He's running up there like Jaworski talking to the official, and I agree that the receiver was bumped when the ball was in the air. That's what Sims was saying. They didn't listen to him, though. Look at this one. You know, Don Shula's a great coach. He always gets his teams ready for that opener.
Well, it's 3rd and 10 on the Eagle 48-yard line. Freedy and Perkins go left. Gray goes right, and Coder is on a wing with Taylor. So they go out of the shotgun. And he's got Perkins with a flag all over the place. So hold everything at the 32-yard line, the reception, but flags everywhere.
There's 3 flags back there, and I'm sure it's holding on the Giants. They caught him, and someone must have held because 3 yellow ones came out right on that right side.
So that would have been a big play, but it's a Powder River play. Chuck Eberling, our referee. The umpire is Gordon Wells. The saddest words of tongue and pen. What might have been, and for the Giants, they lose a big gainer. Here's the call by Chuck.
Holding, offense, number 72, 3rd down.
And that's Gordon King, the 4-year veteran from Stanford.
And those are the saddest words that you can hear. 3rd down, you have a completion for a 1st down, and you hear holding, number 72.
So it is 3rd and 20 on the Giant 42-yard line. And down he goes. Greg Brown, number 98. We haven't seen him today. He's the rookie out of Kansas State. And he's the one they say has a terrific pass rush. Where'd he come from?
He's a natural pass rusher. You know, he's out of Kansas State, but he only played 1 year at Kansas State. He was in construction in Washington, D.C. And we just saw an upset Phil Simms.
Yep.
You know, he didn't have a chance. There was no one open, and he had a big rush. Nothing a quarterback can do about that.
4th and 35 as Jennings punts it to Wally Henry at the 23-yard line. Henry pinned down at about the 35. At the bottom of that heap, quick to get down, was Beasley Reese. 1 minute and 32 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Philadelphia leading handily now, particularly now that the Giants have had to surrender the ball. Had they completed that pass instead of the holding penalty, the Giants were apparently on a move. But bad clubs make big mistakes.
That's right, and they tend to haunt them the whole year. You know, they've really never recovered from that first half fumble, the Giants.
First and 10 on the Eagle 36-yard line. Quick release, and Carmichael dropped it and fell on it.
And Harold wants to stay there and think about it because he doesn't do that very often.
Another tennis report, U.S. Open. Andre Gomez is up 6-5 and serving, so he has a chance to put Jimmy Connors away. We'll keep you up to date on that one. Second and 10 on the Eagle 36. Play action fake, Van Pelt. The pass to Harrington, and he's decked by Lawrence Taylor at about the 41-yard line. Flags on the play.
That was something of the two great outside linebacker bookends. Van Pelt rushed from the outside. Now watch Taylor. He sees it here. He's playing man-to-man on Harrington. So he sees the ball, throws right back up on him. Boom. He knows how to tackle, doesn't he?
One of the few bright spots for the Giants today, and now another penalty going against New York.
And that looked like they marked off about 20 yards on that one. They don't have any 20.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 56, defense.
Oh, no, Chuck. That's wrong. You know what they had to call him? He can swing his arm as he makes a tackle. He can't swing and hit him in the head. But watch him. He's just wrapping his arms around him. He didn't hit him in the head. He hit him in the shoulder pad with his right hand. There's nothing wrong with that.
Meanwhile, there goes Wilbert Montgomery. And finally knocked out by Bill Courier, one of the newer Giants. Courier knocking him out of bounds inside the 10. But I think that penalty really capped the day for New York.
Well, it sure did, and it wasn't there. But did you see Wilbert Montgomery run on that play? Watch him. When he gets square and turned upfield, there's not many better runners in this league than this man here. Watch him. He gives a little move there in the straight arm, the old straight arm. No tear-away jerseys anymore. Looking to the inside, and he knows where to go.
Bill Courier, they just picked up as a free agent from the New England Patriots. First and goal on the 8, and that's Hubert Oliver, but he takes a lick from Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson.
I'll tell you, Lawrence Taylor has made a number of tackles, and in his first regular season game, wait until he gets 5 or 6 games under his belt. He's going to be a force in this league.
John, do you think that roughness call against Lawrence Taylor would maybe intimidate a kid, make him inclined to be overly cautious?
No, he's too good a player because the coaches will show that there's nothing wrong with that. He didn't swing. You can't swing and hit him in the head, but you can sure tackle him in the shoulder.
Second and goal from the 7. Jaworski, a little alley-oop, and he overthrew the oop man, Harold Carmichael.
That's what the oop man says. He told me once, you know, he said, just because I'm 6'7", that doesn't mean that they can throw at 8'2". He said, I don't like it when they do because I don't like to be up there exposed. Ooh, look at that one.
Atlanta really jumping on it. New Orleans now 27-0. Bartkowski to Alfred Jenkins, 25 yards, and a penalty against New York.
Holding, defense, number 10, first down.
They're really working these penalties on the linebackers. They got Brad Van Pelt, who plays on the left side holding, who's probably on a tight end.
So Dick Vermeil, with everything going his way now, has it first and goal on the Giant 4. Here's Oliver. And a flag on the play.
And these fans are getting excited. They don't like that. It's another one against the Giants.
It's a personal foul against the Giants.
This is a tough one. They're trying to play goal line defense or aggressive. Everyone's down low here. Everyone's hitting. Let's see. Right there. See the
75 on the defense. First down.
what they got him for was touching the face mask, and that was number 75,
That's
George
Martin. Yeah, Martin's hand just came up out of the pile trying to grab anything, and unfortunately he got the mask. So it's 1st and goal from the 2. Oliver.
This is the thing that Dick Vermeil thinks that Oliver can do. Watch this good goal line play. See all those bodies in there? Everyone's staying low. Oliver tries to jump over. There's no place to jump. A second effort. He darn near makes it. But you see the ball didn't reach the goal line. The ball has to cross the plane of the goal line.
Terry Jackson prevented the touchdown. You can see that Connors evidently broke Gomez's serve, and they're 6-all. Just as the 3rd quarter ends here. The CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.
Saturdays this fall, Walt Disney is coming to CBS, bringing you excitement, thrills, and the brightest of stars. Join the fun on Walt Disney.
This is CBS. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League has been sponsored by Toyota, who invite you to see all the 1981 cars and trucks at your local Toyota dealer. Transamerica Corporation, the people who give you first-rate service at a fair price. And by Radio Shack, manufacturer of the TRS-80 microcomputer, with a supporting network of over 6,000 stores nationwide.
That's next. Borg and Carter. Meanwhile, Gomez and Connors battling it out, and here come the Eagles. 2nd and goal from the 1. And again, Carter can't get in. Hubie Oliver banged again. Harry Carson hit him high that time.
See, we'll watch this again. Now, see, the Giants are right up there. They're trying to form a wall. They're staying low. Don't let that ball break the plane. Now, see, they get penetration. Philadelphia doesn't knock them off the line. There's Carson right at the line, knocking him back where he came from.
So it is 3rd and goal from the 1. Harry Carson, very physical middle linebacker for the Giants. Oliver and Montgomery, the running backs. It'll be Montgomery on a wide turn, and Carson can't get him, and he's in. So Wilbert Montgomery, on his 16th carry, has now carried for 83 yards, better than 5 yards a carry, and he picks up the TD.
This is a smart call. You know, they had tried to pound Oliver inside. The Giants were real tough. They couldn't do it, and they said there's nothing inside. Let's see if we can get Wilbert outside.
The only man who tried to get him was the middle linebacker, Harry Carson, but he was able to beat him in a foot race. And now Tony Franklin trying to make it 24-3 Philadelphia. And he does. So the Giants are in danger of losing 12 straight to Philadelphia. They haven't done that since they had that bad string with the Cowboys.
There's nothing we want to watch on TV tonight, but we're still going to watch something great.
With our RCA video disc player and video discs. Just flip a switch, and on our TV, we see Airplane or the Pink Panther, The Godfather or Grease, Muppets, Monsters, Mickey, MASH, and 100 more. Starting as low as $15, and the player costs less than $500.
Put it this way, we're watching a great movie, and you're watching us.
Bring the magic home of RCA.
Deadline, Saturday, September 12th at Sears. 3 heavy-duty shock absorbers are now on sale. From $7.99 to $12.99 each, you save 20 to 25% on a smooth ride. And while they last, 25% off at Sears. Weather Handler all-season steel belted radial tires. Save 25%, as low as $29.75 per tire while they last. For great automotive values, you can count on Sears.
Today on CBS Sports, the action continues as the greatest tennis players in the world compete in the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Coming up after the game today on CBS Sports.
That tells you about the scoring drive, but it doesn't tell you about the holding penalties, the personal foul penalties that eventually put Philadelphia in such a golden position where Montgomery could punch it over from one. So it is 24-3 Philadelphia. And Tony Franklin kicking deep to Alvin Garrett. He'll take it on the 3 to the 15. Louis Giamona and Blackmore will ride him out.
You see Tony Franklin, he was over there. He would have been the last man. He may have had to make a tackle.
Ray Perkins, before the season started, sometime during the exhibition, said, I'll make a prediction about the Giants season. When they finally lost so poorly at Pittsburgh, the writer said, okay, what's your prediction? And he said, I lied. He's not making any predictions.
You don't want to do that. It's tough enough to coach without being Jimmy the Greek.
1st and 10 on the 33 of New York. Sims to Perry. Perry running into a lot of blue shirts and enough white to bring him down as he crossed the 30. Meanwhile, Dallas leading Washington 20-10 in the 3rd quarter. Septien, another 42-yard field goal. Kansas City and Pittsburgh in quite a battle. Pittsburgh leading 26-23, 42-yard field goal by Nick Lowry.
There's a team that knows how to win, too, that Pittsburgh Steelers.
Don't they ever. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Flags on the play, and the pass intended for Ernest Gray. Ken Clark.
That was called, and it has to be against the Giants and something on the right tackle because that official is keying down the line and the tackle on that side. So it was a tackle, the right tackle, Gordon King was probably offsides.
And the fellow who shot through him was Ken Clark, as Dick Vermeil. Dick Vermeil always looks unhappy, John.
Offense, refused.
You know, they could be leading by 30, 40 points, and he looks like he's grumpy and grouchy.
That's one of the secrets that we coaches always had. No matter how good things are going, always find something to be upset about. Dick's probably, he's probably mad because the guy's down on one knee there. What are these guys doing on one knee? Are we out of shape? What are they drinking water for?
3rd and 10 on the Giant 33. Sims trying to go deep, and Brown had him as he throws it, intended for Billy Taylor. That's Greg Brown in on him again.
Now that's something. Greg Brown is number 98. He should be a 98. He only played 1 year at college. He was in construction, Washington, D.C. They brought him in. Dick said from the first day he could tell he was a pass rusher.
As Dave Jennings prepares to punt, Baltimore shading New England now, 22-21 in the 4th quarter. Jennings a low punt, and Wally Henry got away from Beasley Reese, but Reese slowed him up, and Garrett finally brought him down. Little Alvin, number 84, is at the bottom of that heap.
That's punt returner versus punt returner. That's one position that I have a lot of respect for, is those punt returners. That is a tough business.
And Garrett has a chance to return the favor and give somebody else a lick.
Announcing Ford's incredible 21-day countdown. With just a few days till the new model year, only Ford offers this great way to save on both cars and trucks. Get $500 back on new 81 Mustangs, new 82 EXPs, or new 81 Fairmonts. Get $500 to $700 on new 81 light trucks or vans. It all adds up to $1 million a day in cash rebates and incentives, and it's a great reason to see your Ford dealer now.
There's $1 million a day coming from Ford.
The United States Postal Service handles 300 million pieces of mail a day. Well, that's their job. But that doesn't mean you have to put your important business letter into that pile. Now you have an alternative. Introducing the Federal Express Overnight Letter. It costs only $9.50 when you drop it off, and it gets delivered practically any place in the country overnight. Absolutely, positively.
Dick Vermeil squinting up, looking at the clock. 13 minutes and 20 seconds left in this game. And the Eagles leading the Giants 24-3, and the Eagles in possession. 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line. And a fumble. Louis Giamona fumbled the ball.
And that was one that Dick Vermeil didn't want right there. It looked like the handoff. Watch it again here. Giamona comes through, and it looks like the handoff slips right back on his hip. He got the ball, instead of in his stomach, he got it on his left hip.
And Brad Van Pelt fell on it.
Right, and sometimes it'll hit that pad and just slip right through. Now watch it. Right there, you see it's on his left hip, and it just slipped right out the back. And look at those bodies come flying through the air and leaping on the ball.
So the Giants have a chance to salvage a little pride here. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 24, and Sims going deep for Gray. Defending was Roynell Young.
You know, that's really the second pass today that Gray had in his hands. Now, it would be a tough catch, but those are the kind that you have to come up with. You know, this is what I think the Giants should have done earlier. Go for one. Throw something up into the end zone and see what happens. See, the ball's a little short. He has to come back, but that went right through his hands, and you have to catch those kind.
And, of course, last year he caught 4 touchdowns in one game. And you can see Jimmy Connors in the tiebreaker won at 7-5 to beat Gomez 7-6. That's Frank LeMaster, double fives all over Phil Sims.
And you know, Frank LeMaster came from the area that quarterbacks really hate. Their backside or blind side, where you can't see him coming, nor can you feel him.
Well, that drops the ball back to the Eagle 35-yard line. That'll make it 3rd and 21. (24-3) in favor of the Eagles. The Giants trying to cash in on a Philadelphia fumble. That's Perkins in motion to the right. And flags on the play as Sims shoots it and complete to Mulledy. Roynell Young defending, but there are flags all over the place.
I'll tell you, that Philadelphia Eagle defense is really coming now in the pass rush. I saw the film of their Jet game last week, and their defense really didn't look aggressive and intense, but they are today.
Greg Brown, who is the youngster who does such a good job in a pass rush situation, putting a lot of pressure on Sims. And, of course, linemen love that 3rd and 21. They can really tee off.
They don't have to worry about the run or draw or screen. They just go for the quarterback.
Offense, number 73, 3rd down.
That's Jeff Weston, and he's trying to hold Gregory Brown.
See Gregory Brown, you see those moves that he has where he pushes with the right, gets that left hand up beyond. That's called a swim technique, and then Weston's behind.
Brown is the son of a Washington, D.C. cab driver. One of 9 children. He can sure put on a rush. 3rd and 31 from the 45. And taking it away from Blackmore is Ernest Gray. And Blackmore has 2 hands full of jersey.
Right, on 3rd down, you know, now it'll be 4th down, and the Giants will have to go for it. Now watch Brown come again. Now watch Weston here. He's having trouble with him. Looks like he's holding him again. Once that right hand gets around behind him, you know, he has to, and that wasn't Weston. That was Bill Ard, number 67. He's a rookie. No, they're going to punt. I thought they'd go for it.
No, they got Joe Danello, who is going to attempt a field goal. The spot will be at the 44. So this is a 54-yard field goal attempt for Joe Danello. No good, wide left. So Danello 6 times in his career has kicked 50-yard field goals, but not that time, and it's still 24-3. Philadelphia.
I think we're lost.
I know we're lost.
We'll never get there.
We're going to be late.
We're going to be late.
At times like this, it's nice to have a front-wheel drive Toyota pulling for you.
It's just over the hill.
There it is.
The Toyota Corolla Tercel, Toyota's lowest priced car. The Toyota Tercel, a car that pulls its own weight.
And a little bit more.
Oh, what a feeling, Tercel, Toyota.
Here's to good friends Greenhorns. Tonight is kind of special.
Alex, I'm just coming out to look for you greenhorns.
We took a little detour.
Little detour? Little detour for what?
Well, we want to say thank you for putting up with us these last couple of weeks.
So we stopped at the store and picked up some loan ground. By golly, you city folks are all right.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
We had such a good time. We're coming back next year. Okay, but don't tell my horses that.
Philadelphia 24, the Giants 3 with 11:38 left in the game. I'm Vin Scully along with John Madden, and the Eagles now put the ball in play. Louis Giamona takes a lick at the 40-yard line, but makes sure he holds on to the ball this time.
We're going to see the signals here now. Now, they have a little different. The Eagles, a coach used to signal. And this year they're having the backup quarterback and the coach signal. They're giving them a double dipper shot.
Oh, it is 2nd and 6. The ball on the Eagle 40-yard line. The running backs are Giamona and Oliver. And it'll be Oliver, and they stack him up right at the line of scrimmage.
Here we go. We'll watch it now. Of course, this time he may send into plays, but see, Dick Vermeil has his chart. Now he's deciding the play. Now he'll tell it to Joe Pisarcik, number 9. Now he's going to give the signals. See, and then they have the coach on the side, Becker. He's also giving the signals. So now if they steal them, they don't know who to steal them from. Do you steal them from the quarterback or the coach? I'd guess the coach.
3rd and 5 on the Eagle 41-yard line. Second man, Giamona. Giamona is hit hard by Brian Kelly, but not before he got out across the 45 and probably picked up the first down.
Because, Matt, they go through all those signals and then they just run the ball up the middle to the running back. Didn't you think you could just say run up the middle?
Giamona moving it to the 47-yard line, and that's enough for the first down.
Really what Pisarcik is doing there, he has to give 4 signals. He has to give a formation and a play and then the blocking combination or pass pattern.
Giamona is on a wing. Oliver is the setback behind Jaworski. And it's Oliver trying to get outside Van Pelt, and Van Pelt upended him. Another score in that wild one. Baltimore now with a comfortable 8-point lead, leading New England 29-21, a 10-yard run by Randy McMillan. Seattle edging Cincinnati 21-20, a 3-yard run by Archie Griffin. Gets that close.
Yeah, Cincinnati's catching up.
The Eagles have the ball just about at midfield, 2nd and 7. With 8:58 left in the game, and Philadelphia leading 24-3. Carmichael and Smith slot left, but they'll draw to Giamona, and Louis gets down to about the 45-yard line. Louis Giamona, he's the coach's nephew.
That's right, but I don't feel that that's why he's made this team. You know,
in fact, he probably had to make it in spite of it.
That's the way it is. You know, when a coach has his son trying out, it's always tougher, and I'm sure it's been the same with Louis Giamona. That, you know, he has to do a lot of things.
He's only 5'9", but he's 180, 5 years out of Utah State. San Francisco and Detroit all even at 17. Oh, they've got a good show. 3rd and 2. Giamona trying it again. They have to get to the 43-yard line.
You know, he's a real workhorse, Giamona. You know, once they start going, they're going to keep giving him the ball. He's the type of running back who you can do that to. You just give it to him and give it to him and give it to him. He's a lot like Pete Banaszak. Those guys don't get tired, they get better.
Last year, he even threw the ball. He completed a 15-yard pass to John Spagnola against Atlanta. So it's 4th and about 1. And Max Runager is in there. He'll be kicking to Alvin Garrett, the deep man for New York. Garrett standing on the 20-yard line. But of course, Runager figures to barrel it over Garrett's head. In fact, Alvin's coming all the way up on the line.
going to be a block. They're coming
going
to
to try for it. And he pops it up around the 20-yard line. Inside the 10. And down by Ray Phillips. Inside the 10-yard line.
That was a different type of thing. The Giants had all 11 men up on the line of scrimmage. Runninger still did what he had to do.
So he kicked a poached egg inside the 10-yard line, and it's 24-3.
At Transamerica, we've provided affordable life insurance for 4 generations with Transamerica Occidental Life. We give you great travel values with Transamerica Airlines and budget rent-a-car. We even make sure life's little surprises won't put a hole in your budget.
Arnie, my favorite Transamerica insurance agent.
First-rate service at a fair price. Transamerica.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 3 business computer increase your manager's productivity. So when you need that report...
Tomorrow by 9.
You'll get it. Because the TRS-80 provides instant information access, simplifies planning and projections, prepares error-free documents through word processing. It's the professional, affordable management tool. TRS-80 Model 3 from $24.95 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
She returned to her mother after 20 years.
How dare you come back and make me care?
Betty Davis and Jenna Rowland, Strangers, the story of a mother and daughter, Tuesday.
Slater, I guess. There's Mark Slater helping Joe Pisarcik get ready. Pisarcik, the backup quarterback for Ron Jaworski. His dad's not been well, John.
No, his father had a stroke, and he hadn't practiced all week. In fact, he didn't join the club until last night at the hotel.
1st and 10 on the Giant 8-yard line. And Phil Simms looking left and throwing no good, intended for Mike Freedy.
Looked like Freedy didn't expect that pass. That was one of those quick out timing passes, and the ball was there before Mike Freedy was ready for it.
And Herman Edwards just punched it away. So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 8. 24-3 Eagles, 7 minutes left, and Simms trying to keep the home fires burning. To Mulledy, no good, broken up by John Bunning, and there's a flag on the play.
And there's a penalty that came real late from deep, and that's usually against the man that's playing on the tight end. So it'll be against the Eagles, and it's probably a linebacker. When they throw that one from deep, it's always something happened to the tight end. It's probably bunting held him.
Pass interference, defense, number 95, 1st down.
It was John Bunting, the linebacker. Those deep guys always watch the tight ends and the people on the tight ends.
Dallas leading Washington 23-10 on another field goal by Septien. He's kicked at least 3 of them. 1st and 10 on the 12. And Al Chesley, number 59, wrapped him up with a little help from Carl Hairston. And, of course, Chesley, who is taking over for Bill Bergey's spot. In fact, they used to call him the stunt man because he had to work so hard in practice.
Watch Simms. He turns.
Play.
He tries to escape. What a frustrating day it must be for Phil Simms. He tried to escape, and he goes outside, and who's waiting for him? Chesley right there.
Those 5 sacks for 60 yards against Phil Simms. So he's looking at a 2nd and 20 from the 2. Intended for Freedy on his hands and knees and OB. So it'll be 3rd and 20. You know, not only is this a rather discouraging start for the Giants on the heels of a bad game with Pittsburgh, but it's a tough way to break in the home crowd, too.
They're right. You know, there were just some fans leaving, and as you see, a lot of the fans left, but as some were leaving up there, a guy yelled up to me and said, "Too bad, John, you have to stay and watch it."
Well, it's 3rd and 20 from the 2. Simms has Mulledy, the tight end, And he's tripped up by LeMaster and finally goes down after crossing the 20. He'll go down at the 23-yard line.
And that'll be just enough for a first down. He just got beyond the first down marker. So the Giants get to practice a little more offense here.
In capital letters on the scoreboard, they flashed 1st and 10, but there wasn't much of a reaction to it by the crowd.
Well, the people that react are leaving.
Yep, that's the reaction. 1st and 10 on the Giant 23. Sims being rushed by Bunting, throws on the run to Leon Perry. No good. Leon got his fingertips on it, but couldn't hold it.
I will say this in defense of Sims, you know, in the papers it'll come out that his completion average wasn't good, but he did throw some good passes that were dropped today. He had, you know, when you hit a receiver, running back or a wide receiver in the hands, they have to catch those.
I think for the Giants, probably the play they'll never get over today. They were very much in the game until they were just trying to sit on the football in the closing seconds of the first half, and Billy Taylor fumbled.
And I think that took everything out of him. I really do. I mean, that's a real turning point.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Humphrey putting on some pressure. They set up a screen for Billy Taylor. He's to the 40, still on his feet, and finally brought down by Blackmore and Robinson inside the Eagle 40-yard line.
There's a little crowd reaction now. That's bringing him back up again. This is a good time to screen a pass. I mean, to throw a screen pass as we look at here, because the linebackers are deep. Now watch Simmons come here and watch the block that he's going to bit. Taylor waits, he sets him up, Simmons turns him out, Taylor takes a dip to the outside.
He was able to move Randy Logan out of the way just long enough for Taylor to get the extra yardage. So it is 1st and 10 on the Eagle 38-yard line. Intended for Mike Freedy with Herman Edwards right there with him.
You know, as we watch Mike Freedy here, I'm not really sure how he came back. He still has a bandage on his knee. He had surgery, and he has a real scar. I mean, his scar must be 8 to 10 inches, and you know, the first game back, you're really not what you're eventually going to be.
Boy, and he was something. He had 7 passes against Dallas. He had 6 against Green Bay. He put on some remarkable acrobatic shows here. 2nd and 10 on the 38. A fumble, and Sims goes down underneath the pile. So the Eagles playing hard and sitting on a 24-3 lead. Sims has passed for 16 for 30 for 124. Jaworski 16 for 26 for 158 and a touchdown.
And I know what Ray Perkins is thinking right now. You hate to see that. I mean, that's so fundamental, the exchange between the center and the quarterback, that it's getting to a point where it really is frustrating.
3rd and 8 on the Eagle 36. Popped in the air, no good. Flag on the play. Reggie Wilkes almost caught it after Herman Edwards hit it.
And the flag will probably be against the Eagles. And again, once the ball's in the air, nope, it's not against the Eagles. It'll probably be against the Giants.
Not bad. You only missed by 1.
Yeah, well, it's either has to be white or blue. That's Al Jury. He's a highway patrolman. He's a policeman in San Bernardino. You ever see him?
No, I hope not.
Holding, offense, number 67. Holding, defense, number 46. Offset, same down.
I knew it was against the defense.
You see, you were right.
Yeah, because after 5 yards, they can't touch the receiver, and I thought I saw some contact down there in the Eagle defensive backfield. See, we'll see it here now. Here's the offense. You see the holding right there? It's the right hand around behind. Ooh, geez, that's a real good hold. That's an all-pro hold. And then the other one happened in the defense.
That's Billy Ard who had that all-pro hold. Now it's 3rd and 8. Intended for Gary Shirk, and Jerry Robinson, the linebacker, was right on him.
That was one thing where Gary Shirk jumped a little before he should have. You want to run through those types of things.
So it is 4th and 8 on the Eagle 36.
This man has had a long day. Claude Humphrey, he's not used to playing an entire game, and of course he had to today, but you know, he's been in there the whole time, and he's used to just coming in and rushing the passer on passing down.
Even on a brief time under those conditions, he had 14.5 sacks last year. 4th and 8 on the Eagle 36. Perkins in motion to the left. Sims down the middle. He's got Gary Shirk. Logan pulls him down inside the 20-yard line for the first down.
I'll say one thing about Phil Sims. He keeps standing in there and throwing those things. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of alternatives, but you know, this is a practice. You know, I mean, they can get some things, and it is a good experience, and they hope that they can get it together for next week.
The Eagles leading 24-3, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, and the Giants have it 1st and 10 on the Eagles 17. In motion, Johnny Perkins. And Greg Brown lowered the boom on Sims again. Right now for an NFL Today report on the Dallas-Washington game. Let's get an update and go to Brent Musburger in New York. So Dennis Thurman makes a big play, and Dallas is breezing, and the Giants will be playing Washington next week. And Phil Sims out of the shotgun. Flag on the play. Pass to Perkins. He's dragged down by Roynell Young inside the 10, but there are flags all over the place.
I think that'll be against the Eagles, though. I think they jumped before the ball was snapped. Did you see that? Dallas is winning a game in their dark jerseys, but they have new jerseys this year.
We mentioned earlier the Giants lost 12 in a row to Dallas before last year's upset, and they're on the edge now of losing their 12th in a row to the Eagles.
All right. What?
Take the down. Keep the down.
What's that number, Ray? Number.
He doesn't know that he has his mic open, Vin. Let's listen to him.
Offside. Defense. Number 98.
Oh, that's
second
Greg
down.
Brown. So Brown got through there a little early to put a lick on Phil Sims. There he is.
He is an impressive pass rusher. You know, Dick said he was just a natural.
So it's 2nd and 5 on the 12-yard line. Inside handoff to Billy Taylor, and Hairston read it, and so did Wilkes, and they take his helmet off.
That didn't fool the Eagles, did it? And I'm sure that, you know, they're playing against a team that also uses a shotgun. You know, that was a shotgun run, but the Eagles practice the shotgun every day in practice. So when you get into something like that, it really doesn't fool them.
You know, in watching the Eagles today, the sign of a good ball club, especially opening day, this is not their great effort. They've been just good enough.
That's right, and those are the games that you have to win. You know, you have to win when you don't play great.
3rd and 12 on the 19. Sims to Perry. Perry to the 5. Perry for a touchdown. Leon Perry, 2 years out of Mississippi.
Phil Sims is saying it's about time. I needed that earlier. You know, he gets a touchdown, but he really isn't happy.
No.
You know, he wanted that. He would have liked to have that in the 1st or 2nd quarter. But still, he gets the ball out there. The Eagles were playing deep, so they were giving a cushion underneath to those linebackers, and Perry just goes boom and met Randy Logan in the end zone.
So that's how it feels. Throw a touchdown and get your hands high in the air, even in the waning moments of a rather painful experience. It's 24-9 in favor of the Eagles. 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. Danilo out of a hole by Bruner makes it 24-10. Leon Perry, who caught that pass, he caught an 11-yard touchdown pass against Oakland last year. He's a 2-year man out of Mississippi, and interestingly enough for Perry, he was the starting fullback in 3 of the Giants' 4 wins, despite the fact he started only 5 times. So they play fairly well when Leon Perry's in there, and he came up with the TD. And that's Lawrence Taylor walking like Jim Brown over there.
Yeah, he looks a little tired. One of the Giants is still down there on the 2-yard line. He didn't get up from that last play.
And it's Turner, I believe.
Van Pelt, you know, there's someone that has been through a lot. He's been in the Pro Bowl the last 5 years, and of course he's also experienced a lot of losing.
It was J.T. Turner shaken up and apparently coming off under his own power. There's the scoring drive. It took the Giants 13 plays to go 92 yards, and they consumed almost 5 minutes. Topped off by Phil Simms to Leon Perry for 19 yards and the touchdown. Dinello's kick, and it is 24-10 Eagles. And there's Joe Pisarcik, who apparently will be at the wheel when the Eagles get the ball. And of course everybody in the park looking what? Onside kick now, John?
Onside kick, as we can see the Eagles there. They have 10 men up on the restraining line. So they're expecting and waiting for an onside kick with only 1 man deep.
And they have Edwards and Robinson and Spagnola, but they're going to pooch it back inside the 30, finally picked up by Wally Henry, and Henry's going to go down at about the 33-yard line.
Is that what that is?
I don't know where that came from.
I've always heard pooch, and I didn't know what it ever meant, and now we just saw a pooch.
There you go. That's a small dog.
Yeah.
Atlanta 27, New Orleans nothing, a final score.
They pooched New Orleans.
And how? They pooched the bummer. And Miami knocks off St. Louis 20-7.
That applause is for Joe Pisarcik.
No, it's not. To be honest, it is for a blonde who is quite well endowed walking up the aisle of the lower deck. So help me.
You don't miss a thing,
Not
do
a
you?
thing if I can help it. That's Louis Giamona. I swear to you.
No.
A winner.
I'm watching the field and the quarterbacks and everything, and you're watching blondes in the stands.
Well, I had to find out why they were applauding. That was why.
Well, you know, Phil Simms is a quarterback that replaced Joe Pisarcik.
Well, she's gone now. she had shiny red slacks on, John.
I think you made that up.
No, I wouldn't dare. 2 minutes left. 24-10 Philadelphia. Hey.
These people all have one thing in common besides a happy smile. They all own dependable Toyota Corollas.
This Corolla's the most dependable car I've ever had.
I can rely on it.
We own 4 Corollas right now, so I know they're well built.
Dependability. It's probably one reason the Toyota Corolla is the best-selling car in the world.
Dependable? Our company bought 34 Corollas.
What a feeling. Dependable. Toyota.
In one of the wilder games of the day, Pittsburgh leading Kansas City now 33-30 on a 41-yard pass from Bradshaw to Jim Smith. And we have yet another, and that's a tough one. Look at that. Baltimore 29, New England 28. That's a 4-yard pass from Grogan to Don Hasselback to get New England close.
Now, you still don't think that applause was for Pisarcik, huh?
Well, there'll be applause at Flushing, New York today because the U.S. Open tennis will follow this football game. With 2 minutes left, 24-10 Eagles, and Joe Pisarcik running the Eagles show. He has Oliver and Giamona out of the eye. Giamona. And Giamona butts his way out to about the 47-yard line.
Now, I'm sure that we've seen our last Eagle pass today. Joe Pisarcik is in there just to get a little work, keep the ball on the ground, get the game over with.
I guess Pisarcik can never come to the stadium without thinking of his last-second fumble and the recovery and touchdown run by Herman Edwards to give the Eagles a game that the Giants thought surely they had won.
And that handoff to Larry Zonka.
Yep.
Oh, they'll never forget that here in New York.
1st and 10 on the Eagle 48. And this is Oliver, and Byron Hunt held him for Van Pelt to come over and bring him down.
I wonder if Ron Jaworski is sending in the signals to Joe Pisarcik, or if they've just went to the coach.
Looking down on the sidelines, Jaworski has taken things easy.
Well, he was given a signal. That was a signal for call in the dogs and put out the fire. The hunt's over.
Ah. What does that express? Our senior producer, Charles H. Milton III. Producer, Robert D. Stenner, down in the truck, along with our director, Tony Verna.
Too tough, Tony.
Producer, Michael Albanese, and to all the fellas who worked so hard and so long to get this ball game on the air and keep it on.
It's a pleasure to work with these people. It really is.
John, you know, you were the 21st round draft choice of the Philadelphia Eagles. Did you ever play for Philadelphia?
I did. I was injured in training camp, and I had knee surgery, so I was out the whole year. I always say I played for them.
2nd and 7 on the 49, and Giamona is grabbed by Harry Carson, and down he goes. We'd also like to thank Dr. Bob Woods for his statistical help today here in the booth as we get down to a minute.
You know, that was a great thing about the Super Bowl this year, Vin. We had the Oakland Raiders in it and the Philadelphia Eagles, so I had a winner either way. If Oakland wins, well, I used to coach Oakland, and if Philadelphia wins, I used to play for Philadelphia. I had the thing either way.
Green Bay, Chicago, in Green Bay, in what must be a pressure year for Bart Starr, leading the Bears 13-6. The 6 points, Walter Payton went 11 yards. Meanwhile, Detroit, with Billy Sims scoring from a yard out with 18 seconds left, leading San Francisco 24-17. That's Sims' second touchdown of the day.
You can't hold a great running back down. It was 17-17 the last time we saw that, and we were just wondering when Billy Sims would again make his presence known.
In fact, in talking about Sims, we say it's his second touchdown of the day. Actually, the other long run got down to the 5-yard line, and eventually the touchdown came as a result of Sims' long run. So he scored one and set up the other. 3rd and 5 from the 47. We have 1 minute and 4 seconds left. Charlie Smith is wide right. Spagnola and Krefley are the tight ends. And they'll go to Giamona yet again. That's a little tough. Mopping up, so to speak, John. They're not looking past, so the linemen are tired. They're annoyed as far as the Giants are concerned. They know they're going to lose. They probably take a few extra pops at you there in the last minute.
Right, it is. And you always want to have a good mopper-upper on your team. And Giamona, seriously, is a good mopper-upper. I had Pete Banaszak. He was good at that, you know, because they're solid guys that aren't going to fumble. You know, you're trying to mop up or run out the clock, but you don't want to cough it up and let the other team pick it and, you know, and run it into the end zone. And you need the solid guys, and the Eagles will, you know, do that. They ate up time on the clock. There's only 58 seconds.
And, of course, for Giamona, as you look at Alvin Garrett, he was originally an 8th-round draft choice by the other New York team, the New York Jets. So it's a chance for him to show something else. Max Runiger will be punting from the Eagle 45. Garrett standing on the Giant 5. 58 seconds left in the game. So Runiger kicks it out of bounds. And the Giants will put it in play with 51 seconds left. 24-10 in favor of Philadelphia. They will spot the ball at the Giants' 16-yard line. So a nice punt from Max Runiger. Don't forget, United States Open Tennis Championships immediately following football. First and 10 on the Giants' 16-yard line. Sims looking down the middle, and he completes it to the 25-yard line to Ernest Gray, and all over him is Frank LeMaster. Not only will you see U.S. Open tennis today, but of course you'll have highlights and updates all during the week. Sims to Billy Taylor, who drops it. That might be fatigue, huh, John?
I think that's about the 6th or 7th one that they've dropped on Sims today. You know, Vin, watching that last punt of Runninger, I was wondering, can you punt a pooch?
I can walk a pooch.
Or do you just kick a pooch? Kick a pooch, pass a pooch, punt a pooch.
3rd and 1 on the 26-yard line with 28 seconds left to go. There's another reminder, U.S. Open Tennis Championships immediately following, plus tomorrow. 3rd and 1, and Sims cranks up and throws across the middle to Johnny Perkins, who is upended with a flag on the play. Blackmore took him down at the Eagle 45. We have 18 seconds left. And we'll have a timeout to stop the clock.
And the timeout because of the penalty.
Offside, defense, number 78, refused. First down.
Oh, Hairston is still punching that time clock.
All right. All of them are, and they stopped the clock to let the chains come up. Whoops. That'll stop the clock. They were going on 3, and the offense left on 1. Pick up that flag.
All right, 1st and 15 for the Giants on their 49-yard line, almost midfield. 16 seconds left. Well, more time on the clock than there is on the scoreboard. Sims to Freedy with Jerry Robinson on his back, and I think they're going to penalize Carl Hairston again.
Right, it's against the Eagles. They jumped early, but that's a time that you like to have a deep pattern going because it's really a free play. You can throw it up there, and if you get the completion, fine. If you don't, even if you get an interception, you know you get the ball back and the down over.
Yeah, Hairston was coming out of the chute long before the play.
Well, sometimes you like to get a run at it, and you like to get a head start. But of course, that's something that Dick Vermeil will get on them during the week about.
78 defense. First down.
Well, the Rams are on the scoreboard against Houston in Anaheim. LA 7-0 over the Oilers. And Sims loses the football. Falling on it is Ernie Hughes, the center. And that's about it. So for the Giants, a very disappointing day. They wind up the game with a fumble. For Philadelphia, they were as good as they had to be. They never really seemed to be out of control, John, although it took them a little while to get started.
Well, I think like we said, in the first half when the Giants were trying to run out the clock and they fumbled, I think that was the start of their frustration. I think fumbling the last snap here was the end of their frustration.
Yep, and the end of the day, mercifully. Philadelphia 24, the Giants 10. If you missed the scoring, the Giants scored on a 27-yard field goal by Joe Danello. Perry Harrington scored from 1 yard out, however, to lead the Eagles 7-3. Franklin kicked a 47-yard field goal to make it 10-3. Rodney Parker caught a 55-yard touchdown pass to make it 17-3. Wilbert Montgomery scored from 1 yard out to make it 24-3. And the Giants, on a pass from Sims to Leon Perry, finally made it 24-10. And that was the ball game. For the Eagles, a good workout as they set forth in pursuit of the Super Bowl. And for the Giants, a discouraging beginning, but it's a young ball club and there's 15 games left and they play Washington next week.
But the one thing that they had was Lawrence Taylor. I was very impressed with him.
Well, we can see some scores now. Baltimore 29, New England 28 in the fourth quarter. And that thing is still very much up for grabs. New England just scored to get close. Atlanta pretty much having their own way with Bum Phillips in New Orleans. So George Rogers couldn't get on the scoreboard. Atlanta shut him out 27-0. Kansas City and Pittsburgh in a seesaw ball game, which not only shows you that Pittsburgh knows how to play, but as you said, John, Kansas City might be one of the dark horses.
And that's a lot of points, 70 points in that game.
And here's a lot of points. Cincinnati down has suddenly turned it around to take the lead against Seattle 27-21. Now for John Madden, Vin Scully saying so long from Giant Stadium. The final score, 24-10 Philadelphia.
This is CBS.